Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams Vidal Willamette. For all your real estate needs, go to teamgillette.com. And for more information on Boson Hub and their digital services, go to bosonhub.com. And for information on the Oregon Fire Museum and the Father's Day run coming up on June 18th, go to OregonFireMuseum.org. Ta-da! Here we are live, The Experience live with Russ and Scott. So glad to have you all joining us. Scott, you like the new backdrop there, getting fancier as we go on there. Ever's been busy.
It's it's looking good. I like it.
So, how are you this week, my fine friend?
Hey, it is great. It's Wednesday. It is The Experience live with Russ and Scott. And it was just, as I was looking at our guest list for today, Christine and
Roz.
I had to hesitate for a moment.
It's okay. No, age will do it to you.
They say it's not bragging if it's true. And we have the most remarkable people on the planet right here live on The Experience with Russ and Scott every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific time.
I'm amazed at how many wonderful friends we have that are willing to come on with you and I am just blessed beyond. I mean, I can't even tell people. I don't just say that. We are truly, truly blessed with amazing people, and they make us look good, Scott. That's even better.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to hang around with smart people,
Yeah, and, so do I. Gotta love smart people.
Christine, Rosalinde had her background blurred, but I'm just still waiting for that drum solo. So
there you go. We'll have to work on that. I mean, Roz seems to be on one of my shows about every other week, so sooner or later we'll get the drum solo. There we go.
Absolutely.
But anyway, well, listen, we're so glad to have everybody here. We're here every week, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. Don't forget, besides being on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube live, after we're done, those watch links, you can watch on replay, same links. You can watch anytime, and you can share that with your friends at any time. Then it also converts to audio podcast. You can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, any of your favorite audio podcast platforms. And so if you're driving in your car, you just want to listen to this, you can do that as well. And, we just appreciate everybody being here because this is just a blessing for Scott and I each week. And, the thing is, we just want to remind you again, this show is only good if people see it and you can share it. So right now, click that share button, share. Not just about Scott and I, it's about Roz and Christine today and so many other amazing people. On top of that, you can also subscribe to our YouTube page, right? The Experience.video, super simple. That's all you got to type in, the Experience.video. It'll take you right there to our YouTube page. You can subscribe right now. what does that do? It gives you access to all those past amazing guests that we've had right there in one little library. And on top of that, it also gives you notices about upcoming events. So it's a win-win, right, Scott?
Well, and there's no credit card required.
There you go. It's free.
I've got a couple of got a couple of shout outs I want to put out. One of them is that I did an interview with Scott Weaver, and his new book, the GPS for Business Owners. It's all about vision, and this is one of the most helpful business books on vision that I've seen. And we've got a startup nonprofit. We're going to be working through his book because there's lots of stuff to actually do to help you find your vision for your business, for your organization. And so I definitely recommend people go over to Amazon and get his book, Scott Weaver. And then today, our friend Robert Peterson is celebrating his 300th episode on his show, and that is coming up. Well, I think it's going on now. I know I'll be over there at what time am I going to be there? 10:15 Pacific time. So it's the 300th episode of Add Value to Entrepreneurs. Going to be a big celebration going on. So people definitely want to tune into that as well.
Well, that is amazing. And I think I sent a note to Robert, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make that today. So if you can tell him congratulations from me, Scott, when you go on.
I will.
Yeah, I've got another appointment at the same time today. So
we'll wish him congratulations live from Russ and Scott.
There you go. There you go. That is amazing. I mean, and Robert is an amazing individual. So congratulations, Robert, on that. So yeah, well, listen, we are just ready to roll for the day. And I think it's time to get our guests in the room. What do you think?
Indeed.
Okay. So we're going to bring in Christine first, because she is, when it comes to Live with Russ and Scott and live streams with us, she's the newbie. So we're going to bring her in first this morning. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. How are you?
Looking sharp there.
I converted myself to my rose-colored glasses. However, I don't feel like I need them with you guys. I feel completely safe in this space.
Looking good behind those sharp, cool ray tints.
That's right. That is so right. Well, listen, I love the shades, the sunny day that you're enjoying in Illinois today. But let's start off with a little snapshot. Who is Christine? And tell everybody what you're up to.
Well, for the past few years, I would say the last 34 years, when I finally just allowed myself into this space, I became very passionate about the death care industry. And so I'm curious about every single inch and aspect, including what goes into the air. And so these days, I've become more interested in the climate. And I wish I would have been enlightened just a little bit sooner. However, I'm working in the virtual space. I feel like there's a correlation there. And so I'm allowing my experience, which I thought I just needed to get really super smart. And it turns out I just needed to be a little bit crazy. And here we are. And just be a little bit crazy, ready to change the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, Scott. Continue that thought. You like a little bit crazy?
Well, it's just going on with the status quo means we're just going to get more of the same. And where's the progress in that? So be a little crazy, try something different. And that's what we need.
Well, there was a great quote I used in my newsletter the other day from James Clear. I think it was James Clear, or was it John Maxwell? Well, it's from one of them, and they're both amazing. But the only way you're going to get new results is by doing something new, is the crux of the quote. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to do something different. You know what the definition of insanity is: doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. If you want different results in your life, you got to be a little crazy. You got to do something different. You got to step out. And I think that's awesome. So,
well, and what's normal today was crazy back in the day.
Exactly. That's right. For sure. I mean,
don't downplay my new insane image. This is right. Don't downplay it. We're hoping that crazy takes it over the edge right now, and that it's not normal to be crazy, but probably it is just a little bit.
Well, I think if it's not normal for you, it should be. We all need a little bit of that. So speaking of crazy, no, I'm just kidding, Roz.
Oh,
the next in the room.
All right, drum solo.
Woo! Crazy and Roz. Yeah.
That's why we love you, Roz.
This is a great topic because, you know, you have all these like wonderful things happening all at the same time, because crazy and you know, status quo, and you know, if you really think about it, it's so many things in between, which is what I do. I'm an executive coach, and I help professionals in career, leadership, and transition, and everything in between. And what you guys are talking about is everything in between. And if we are not looking at what really is making us so afraid, because really that's what that is that all those things, you know, status quo is being safe, is playing it safe. So what's out there that can challenge us and make us grow?
Exactly. I love that, because playing it safe doesn't get you anywhere. And we all naturally want to play it safe. We're happy in our little cocoon. We want to be just, you know, the things that work and the things we're familiar with and all of that. But unless we break out of that, things are not going to happen. And it's really tough sometimes. Let's say you're going through health challenges. Let's say you're going through life, family challenges, whatever it is. It's tough in the midst of challenges of life to break out and do something new, break out of that. Even in a bad comfort zone, it can be tough. And that's when it's most important to really do something new. Right, Christine?
It's true. It's true. And there's a certain freedom when you have nothing to lose. You know, when health issues become an issue and you get that freedom, that frequency where nothing can stop you, it's pretty liberating, I would say.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. I mean, you know, and the whole thing too is realizing when you've gone through it, Scott, I think that then you see that change, you see that liberation, right?
You know, I was remembering a story, and they were talking about walking through the cemetery, and you see these markers with somebody's name, and maybe it says husband, mother, child, you know, whatever it was on there. And then there's a year and there's another year. But in the middle, there's a dash, and it's all about the dash, right? What happens between 1931 and whatever that other number is, right? It's the dash.
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking that same thought, Scott, and that is reading between the lines. And I think one of you ladies alluded to this. Reading between the lines of life are so important, because it's not just what you're saying or what is standing out. It's what's happening between the lines. It's what's happening in your life overall. And I think, you know, that can be very sometimes crazy, in maybe not in such a great way. You know, maybe it could be really challenging, whatever you're going through. But I think when you do something like we talked about at the very beginning, you make a change, a positive change, or you try to make a positive change. You know, sometimes we don't know where to go, but you got to do something. You got to take that step, right, Roz?
Correct. When professionals come to me and there's always going to be some kind of fear involved. If they make this decision, something may be catastrophic. If they make this decision, sometimes it's monumental. And it's just, as we discussed before, Russ, taking these small moments in just smaller moments and just holding that and seeing what it is that we can learn and grow from that moment. What can you handle at this point in time? So before you go out into the world, because, that's just a little too much. Just reel it in a bit so that you can really cast out the line.
Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, that's enough said on that one. Scott, Scott, go ahead. I lost my train of thought there.
No, let's bring Christine in. I want to hear what Christine, because she's got just some great stuff going on, and I wanted to share more about missyoumuch.com.
Missyoumuch.com is a place where anybody who thought they fit in landed on that page. And then there's a backlog. So I made a little area where we can travel off to now, and that's called Backyard Partings. So that kind of helps accommodate our pet lovers. Because I have this little sense of urgency in my life, I wanted to skip right to the philanthropy. So I make enough to survive for myself, and that gives me a lot of comfort. But outside of that, I've wanted to be a philanthropist since I was I don't even know how old I was. I just thought that was really cool. It was a word that was like impossible to say and spell. And I wanted to be this thing. So I'm going to be donating all the proceeds, and I say all of them, all of the proceeds from Backyard Partings to our Humane Society and other groups throughout different countries. That's my little gift that I've been working on, and it's brought me a lot of comfort and joy. Hoping our pet owners appreciate some of the risks that I'm taking involved in this. And the site is up, but I think the magic is about to happen once we award the funds that come from that project. So I'm so excited I hope I get to come back and at least share those thoughts with you when it's here. And
tell
that's
us a
what
little
I've been
bit.
up to. I just want to give things away right now. I don't know if that's some weird part of my life that I have to deal with right now, but I'm doing it with some caution and great effort at the same time. So
Tell us about Backyard Partings.
Backyard Partings is a collaborative site that is for pet owners that have lost their precious little furry or feathery family member. And they'll be able to create a virtual celebration of life right there on the site. They'll keep moving into another portal with one of my partners, Ibento's company. And recently we got a partnership with Gateway, and they are just amazing in pet grief resources. So you'll be able to navigate around. There's product within the site that has commissions or affiliate payment, and that's exactly what will go to our Humane Society is the proceeds from there.
So this grief, I mean, there's all kinds of grief. And we was just talking about with our pets, and we get so attached to them. Sometimes, it's 10, 15 or longer years that we spend as having these pets as part of our lives. There's other griefs. Obviously, we lose a friend or a family member. Sometimes, when we went through this whole pandemic, people lost careers, they lost businesses. There's a lot of grief. And I think helping us all find ways to deal with grief that is positive is hard. It's hard to find that.
Yeah. Right. Well, not too much longer. there's this whole death positive movement, and I'm not heading that up. It's a lot of really creative people. Our beautiful millennials are working in this space to make it more realistic and faster than our generation ever could. So I'm so happy to see that millennials are getting involved in end of life, seeking out their end of life resources, not only for their parents or helping their parents make arrangements for their grandparents, but like really embracing like, hey, I want to make sure that, when I go, I'm not destroying, the climate, and what happens to me matters, but it's not in an old way. And so I had to make a little quick pivot. Well, it wasn't quick. I've been working on this every single day for 37 months. And I shifted a little bit into the pet industry because there's so much reluctance to change in our current funeral industry. So the pet industry isn't like that. And right now, currently in a year, 1.5 million pets get cremated. Okay. I know what we did with the pets when I was growing up. So I imagine, there's a number for how many backyard burials are taking place. But backyard partings, you can have a virtual service where you just invite, everybody from anywhere in the world, and they could come on and I'll just give you a little idea. You come on as your pet. So your pet visits the pet service, which is really out there. But you can also get a local arranger to come into your backyard and create a little backyard parting for your pet celebration.
Well, and I love that, Christine. It's all about a celebration and, being thoughtful about what you're doing, how you're doing it. And I think one thing back to what Scott said too, grief is hard to deal with sometimes. Sometimes those challenging low parts of your life. And Roz, I'm going to bounce to you. Sometimes those are the toughest to move out of, and having the support like Christine is doing just makes it easier.
Scott mentioned, grief in careers. That was very, very prevalent, especially in 2020 when things were just changing and moving around a lot. There was a lot of movement yet, but no one was really moving anywhere but in their own homes. So, but we were grieving in so many other ways as well. Grieving connection. We've spoken about this, that, we need to be connected somehow. We were wired to be connected. We were wired to be connected to other people, be connected to our work, be connected to our family, be connected to our animals, be connected to something. And when you don't have that kind of connection, that's when you feel that grievedness or the grief coming through. So it's staying connected. It was just going back to what Christine said, going on virtual. Yes, that's still a connection. So we are still connecting with other people. So that having the wherewithal of having everyone together, and we are celebrating. We're not just grieving. We're celebrating life. We're celebrating. We could look at when you get the new position, when you get a new job, when you get going into a new industry. That's all a celebration. I have to say, the Irish really did have it right. It's just you celebrate. We don't necessarily have to grief, because it's what is that, the 360, the Simba, it's the circle of life. We just begin again. We begin again. And it's where do you want to begin again?
Well, I think that all bounces back to one of my favorite words, and that's perspective.
Absolutely.
Perspective and whatever you're looking at. And I think, Christine, that, one thing that you're looking at is people being intentional about how they're handling grief and how they're handling all that they're doing at end of life. Also, really having a good perspective through the process, right?
Yeah, it's okay to grieve. It's
Yeah.
okay. We're making it okay to feel sad and okay to reach out. And I wouldn't say that I was like completely a fan of online and virtual, but I don't know, if we don't embrace that, I think we're going to, and I'm excited to go into the pet industry, because I just feel like that's going to help us with our, bigger grief issues, and whether it be our job or the stress that comes from having a job, not just losing a job, but actually having a job. So, our first responders, and if we just bring it down just a little bit and say, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to, make a quick virtual presence and get everybody together because I'm just not having a good day. This is Barkley's birthday, and it's the first one that I'm not here with my dog or my horse or my bird. And now I can just real quick. And, it's really neat because you can order food for your friends and have it delivered to their house. You can really go all out with this.
Wow.
Or it could be just really simple. And it's not like one person's financial responsibility. Your gatherers will pay tickets to get in, so they'll share. And that sharing concept has been around like forever, but the millennials are really knocking it out of the park. Like, hey, we don't want one family to be burdened. And I know this is going to work into the real death care model. It's just right now, we don't want to step on anybody's toes, apparently.
Right. Well, I love that. And I thought, as you were saying that, together, we're better together in anything that we do. Truly, truly. And, I love what my good friend Michael Holt says here, taking loss and using it for the good. I'm a firm believer that God works all things for the good, and that we take those bad circumstances, whatever, and we can turn them to good if we have a good perspective and if we work together and do positive things, and how we look at the whole process. And so, being the responsible host, I need to start the wind down process. And
I'll just say thank you, Russ, for bringing us to that point, because we do need to come to the end. But it's this is a great discussion. We need to keep it going. This is a deep subject for 7 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh my goodness!
But this is important, and Rosalind, I love that you said that, it's okay to grieve, right? We need
everything is okay. Everything is okay. Look at your challenge. And when you look at that challenge, it's really about, when we look at grief, we look at the fear. We're looking really at fear. We're looking at, what are we fearful of? So taking what Russ was saying, turn that perspective in, what are we willing to grow into?
Yeah.
Instead of.
And so I'll just say, because it's okay to grieve, those of us that are around people who are grieving, we need to learn what to say, right? How to treat them right. Because we like to solve people's problems. We want to take that pain away from them, right? And yes. So we need to pursue this again, and
for sure,
work on both sides of the equation, because
I got one thing.
Balance.
God gave us two of these, right?
Listen
more than you talk to someone who's grieving.
Yeah. Well, and Christine, I was going to say that, and then we're going to bounce to you to start the wrap up. And that is, sometimes you just need to be with somebody and listen. There's a lot of conversations I have that go like this. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because I'm just listening and absorbing what they're saying, actively listening for them, because they just need to unload. And a lot of times that's the best way to be a good friend. So So listen, Christine, tell everybody your gold nugget of today's conversation. We're going to have a part 2 on this one because this is way too good of a conversation. And then tell everybody your gold nugget of the day and how they get in touch with you.
Grief shared is grief diminished. And you would just go to missyoumuch.com, backyardpartings.com, or I answer my phone. I would just say call 708-215-1190 if you need me. I'll answer the phone. I'll listen.
Perfect.
That's what I got.
And part of that information magically appeared below you. It's in the show notes. It is also ticking below you in the ticker this morning. So yeah, everybody, that's clickable. Just as a reminder, you can go directly to her today and connect with Christine. So thank you, Christine. And Roz, you're up next.
I can be messaged here on LinkedIn. That's it. And the golden nugget is don't speak unless you can improve on silence. That active listening, really listen. And when you can interject, but allow someone really to do that unloading, because that's probably what they need at that moment.
Well, and you got to fight the urge, right, Roz? Because especially us guys, we're fixers. And my wife a lot of times will start into something and she'll go, don't try to fix this. Just let me talk. And, you have to remind yourself, and that's why
when all else fails, call Scott, because he has the voice of serenity.
That's right. And he's a motivational listener. So there you go.
There you go.
You guys are kind.
Well, ladies, awesome. So glad to have you here. We're going to send you both to the green room, but hang tight for a second, and we will schedule part 2.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
See you in a minute. There we go, Scott.
Hey, at the beginning I said, it's not bragging if it's true. I said we have the most remarkable people on the planet.
Oh my goodness.
Here on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And today is just a stellar example.
Exactly. We are definitely going to schedule, which I am getting ready right now, part 2 as soon as we get into the green room with Roz and Christine. And we're going to continue this conversation because I think that it's important to this is just a really important topic. And, the experience of life encounters grief and joy, celebration, sadness. And as the ladies both said, and Scott, as you said, we need to embrace those emotions. And then we just need to move through them to a positive motion forward instead of just staying in that. But you got to have time to actually experience the emotions you're in, because we're human, and that's what it's all about. So, all right, Scott, what do you have going on this week?
Well, let's see. This week, of course, at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we've got the Aging Better Network with my wife, Christine A. Smith. That is her show. She has fabulous guests coming on there talking about the aspects of aging. And that really fits in with all of our discussions. It's about, as you always say, Russ, it's about the experience of life.
There you go. That's it. Well, life is quite an experience, just like we were talking about between the lines, right, Scott?
Yeah. And I'll just say again that we've got Robert Peterson's 300th show. So I think you can tune into that. Probably go to his LinkedIn page, Robert Peterson. And I'll be over there at 10:15 Pacific time. And what is it? It's the advice, add value to entrepreneurs. So
right. Well, he is amazing too. And again, Scott, please represent me today and tell him how much I appreciate him and his wife and all they're doing there. And I wish I could have been there. It's hard to be everywhere you want to be sometimes. But you know what I've learned? I've learned probably from you, Scott, because I've learned most everything in my life from you. And that is I have learned to not beat myself up. We can't be everywhere. And the biggest challenge for me is wanting to say yes and be everywhere for everything. And you just can't.
Absolutely.
And when people support you, you definitely want to do it. And Robert has been a huge supporter, and I'm super thankful to him for that. And so thank you for telling him hi for me today.
I will.
And
I'll just say, I just want to tail on that for the moment. You know, as you say, you can't be everywhere, but where you are is wonderful, right? I remember when we took a family to New York, we went to Manhattan, and there's a list of things. There's a lot to see. And I remember saying beforehand, there's a lot more that we won't see than what we will see. But what we do see will be fabulous. And we need to think about that in life, is take that moment where you're at. And that is fabulous.
Enjoy where you are at the moment, because if you're not present, you're going to miss it. And just because you're looking forward to something else, you don't want to do that. So, all right, Scott, we're going to wrap it up for today. Don't forget, everybody, we are here at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Wednesday. Don't forget, we're also on Instagram before this at the Experience Backstage with Shri, and Noopy drops in occasionally, the glitter practitioner who supports us there. So listen, I appreciate everybody being here today, and we'll be back next Wednesday, 7 a.m., LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Until then, have a great day and a great life, and
enjoy the experience.
Woo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.